we watched Team USA 95-91, a nail-biter, as my buddy Rob just texted me. 32-15 in the fourth quarter, which is what the U.S. needed to do.
And by the way, if you think that they're just going through the motions,
there was a lot of passion.
There was so much passion involved, which is great to see. You know, USA did not want to lose that game. They came through clutch when they had to. The big names stepped up. But the Serbian team, they were crushed, understandably. But, you know, it is interesting to see how much heart is on the line, how much pride is on the line.
Well,
and you may think obvious because it's the Olympics, but we watched it and we're like, dang.
As the meme goes, Team USA, the dream team in 92, faced like a handful of NBA players across the whole Olympic spectrum.
Yeah, that's changed.
Where now every team in the Olympic basketball men's division has NBA players that, you know, Bogdanovich, Jokic, like they weren't playing against some dude that's a plumber when he's not on, you know, Team Serbia.
No, it's definitely more of a worldwide game now.
These are ballers now.
Mm-hmm.
Two questions before I get to my baseball, basketball hybrid hypothetical. I'll give them props because I saw the guys at Barstool did this in their office. Like they went around asking people. So I'll ask you. I like the guys at Barstool. If Team USA now, the 2024 team, were to play the 1992 Dream Team, not who would win, what do you think Vegas would have the odds at? What would the point spread be? And those guys were picking. Some people picked favorites and underdogs all over the board.
I would say it's almost like you're playing the Monstars, because I think today's team is just too big and too athletic compared to that team physically. I'm not saying they're a better team with better chemistry, but if you're just looking at them, they're both great teams, but one of them is way more athletic and has bigger size and more athleticism involved in today's game, today's players.
I'm not one to get into those, like, what if Tyson fought Ali?
So I'm saying based on that, they would have the advantage. They would be odds favorites.
But give me your point spread.
I don't know.
I mean, no one knows because it's an imaginary scenario. Dan Byer, what says you?
I'd say that this current team would be favored by 8.
I was thinking 10, but I thought maybe that's too much.
2024. There were people that were like, dream team by 12, and I'm like, you're just delusional. You're being a prisoner of your childhood and your past. I think it might be like current team by 4.5 or something like that. Like, you know, like,
it's team chemistry versus like pure athleticism and size with today's team, but today's team looked like they were playing with a lot of heart.
One of the other things I think that you have to weigh is where guys like Magic and Bird were in their careers.
Yeah, they weren't.
There is no one on this current USA team aside from LeBron that is really like in their sunset years. KD
I was going to say Durant, maybe.
Obviously on the downside of his career, but still a star in the NBA and top 10 player in the NBA, where Bird had his back issues, Magic obviously stepping, being out of the game. And like there was Michael, there was Patrick Ewing, there were other players, but this is 12 guys who we think are near maybe not Derek White.
But when you saw like towards the end of the game when they really had to step on it to win, and you see Steph, LeBron, and KD playing at an elite level, you can't tell me that like they'd get killed by Jordan, Pippen, and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. It would be a damn good game. And you're right, a lot of those guys were past their prime in 92.
If you want to ask me who I'd be rooting for, then I'd be prisoner of my childhood.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Without a question.
Yeah, I think realistically, though, you have to look at that point. And I just think the newness of those guys playing together, Bird and Magic were never on the same side, ever. There was never a reason for them. In fact, they were on the polar opposites, both geographically and just of their entire careers. And then for them to be in the same uniform with such a newness and something that was so original that we just ate up every second of, and it still hasn't worn off after 32 years.
That's true. It's true. So think about that, and I'm going to give you the other hypothetical. Now I'm going to give you a second to think about it.
I hate hypotheticals, but that is a fun one.
Yeah,
just based on how popular the Dream Team was.
What would the point spread be?
Danny Byer just said, like that was shocking just for us to see.
Of course.
Look at all these greats assembled on one team. Now, Rich, before we talk about punching people in the nose,
you have an answer to the hypothetical?
I have 2 answers for you.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. My first instinct when you said, because we watched the USA pull out a really close win over Serbia, but they stepped up when they had to. 95-91. Now they play for the gold on Saturday against France. I hate hypotheticals. I really do. Like, man, who do you think will win? Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali?
Would Roger Clemens strike out Babe Ruth?
And I understand people love that, but I'm like, I tune out of those. I think the Dream Team one versus today's team is a fun one, and I just think size and athleticism puts today's team ahead.
I don't think the thought of the matchup is as fun as the hypothetical of what would Vegas set the point spread at, because
I immediately thought 10, but I have to take it back, and I actually agree with Dan Byer. I'm going to go 8 because you can't deny the chemistry of that team. They were ballers. You know, we're just
But to make it clear, you're saying the current team by 8.
Yes, current team by 8. But then guys like Len hit us up. Len from Idaho. What up, Len? Not buying it. The toughness, the attitude, the never lose attitude would be far superior. Just the toughness and tenacity of yesteryear's team would beat today's team.
And listen, Len shares the sentiment of a lot of people, but I just wonder if that is glorifying your childhood. The same way someone would be like, "Yeah, dude, Metallica's the greatest." Like, but that's not how you living in the moment.
He makes a point. That's why I'm going from like 10 to like 8. I still think today's team would win.
Like,
it's
you don't
just
think
too big, too strong.
You don't think LeBron James is a superior athlete to any of those guys? Dan Byer, what do you think, bud?
Could you imagine bookmakers being like, well, they want it more?
Yeah, that's not how it works.
No, it does not work like that. Now, motivation is sometimes brought into it, but that's usually when the line is set in trying to determine, all right, how is this team going to fare or that team going to fare? They may win. 1992 may win, but when you're talking about setting the line and how it would lay out, I just don't see any way how this dream team would not be favored in that game.
Yeah.
Those dudes were ballers, though, and that's why it's fun. It's not to knock on them. But just physically look at them compared to this team. Doesn't mean they couldn't win, like Dan said, but I think that's how it would size up.
And with the conditioning that they have today, if those guys lived in a different era.
Oh, yeah.
That's
why hypotheticals for the most part don't intrigue me, but that team was so good that I could actually see them competing. Now, your other hypothetical is based on a viral clip, which I also saw. Again, if I offered you $1 million...
No strings attached.
No strings attached. Would you take it, or would you take 10 opportunities to throw a baseball into a basketball net full court
for $50
million?
I'm taking my 10 shots.
I'm taking my 10 shots easy, and I'll explain why. Anyone else have a thought on this?
I think I'm taking the money guaranteed.
Really? You're going to take $1 million?
Do I get to practice the throwing? You're talking about throwing baseballs full court
for the fun of it?
Into the opposite hoop?
No, Sam. You've thrown a baseball before. No practice. Here's 10 shots. You can either throw them in and get one in for $50 million, I've
thrown a baseball, but I don't know if I've tried to throw a baseball full court into a basketball hoop.
I
need a little practice.
I'm not sure.
I think I'm taking the money.
Covino, the guy in this reel, hits it on his first try.
That's why there's no question.
And after seeing that, I'm like, I could do that.
Yep.
The question is, would the nerves get to you? If there was a real $50 million on the table, would your nerves get to you
that's
just
the
a little
problem.
bit?
It's a mind game then.
So these dudes took the hypothetical to
macho
the
head
test.
games.
He made the first shot. I would take my chances for the $50 million on this. Normally, I would
there's two
agree with
reasons.
Sam.
I have multiple reasons.
I trust my baseball and throwing abilities
now,
here.
listen, you haven't played baseball in a long time. I play softball every week. I know softball, baseball different, but I'm throwing every week of my life, and I never stopped. From the high school to college till now, I'm still throwing a ball every week. We throw a football around the studio. There's two reasons why I would take the 10 shots at $50 million. Because $50 million is substantially life-changing, where $1 million is not. So that's number one. Number two, a basketball court is 94 feet long, which means it's only 4 feet longer than base to base in baseball. So that's like saying, can you throw a strike from second base to first base? If you're playing shortstop or third base, can you field the ground ball and throw a strike to the first baseman? And a basketball or a soccer ball or a kickball would bounce around. A baseball hits a backboard and just drops.
Yeah, the guy that does it, he takes the physical challenge, double dare style.
First shot.
He tells Mark Summers, I'll take the physical challenge. He hits it off the backboard. No bounce, goes right in, and then he pulls the orange flag out of the big rubber nose.
And then there's a big stack of pancakes, and he pulls the flag out of there.
And he wins the physical challenge. Dan Byer, did you think about it? Would you take the $1 million or the double dare physical challenge?
Oh, yeah,
10 shots?
And what physical challenge would you want to do on double dare?
Well, not Sunday slide, even though that's the...
Yeah. Did you used to think my family would suck on this show? Right? I used to be like, I wonder how Dad would
No,
do.
but I thought of what friend I would go with. Like, not him. Oh, I'd go with him for sure, but I wouldn't go with him. I also wouldn't be good in the peanut butter and jelly finding the flag.
Oh, that's a rough
or
one.
the pick your nose. I thought the hamster wheel or the jumping in the ball pit was pretty easy. That's stuff that I could handle. I would probably have to go for the $50 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah. It's just like it's the game show dilemma, right? Yeah. How many times are you going to be on The Price is Right? How many times are you going to play
it's funny
The
you say that,
Wall or
DB,
Deal or No Deal?
There's a show I watch on Amazon with my wife sometimes just because it's easy background. See, I'm a palate cleanse type of guy. Like if I watch a serious, deep, like crime show, I can't go right to bed. I'm like,
Rich has to watch Nard Sharks after
I'm
that.
like, put on something nonsense. There's a show called The 1% Club hosted by Patton Oswalt on Amazon.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, there's a point of the game where the people could be like, I'm out, and they get $1,000. And I'm like, why would you do all that? To be like, I'm out, $1,000. Like, go for the hundreds of thousands. Like, what are you doing?
That show needs a lot more money.
Yes, it
I've
does.
seen it. I've seen like the Australian version. Jim Jeffries, comedian, hosts the Australian
that's awesome.
version as well. But yeah, to that point, if there was something on the back end, like if you didn't make it, then you couldn't say, I don't know, watch baseball for a year or like 10 years or something like that. Then you have a real decision. But I think that you have to go for the $50 million.
Agreed.
Hey, Dan Byer, before your update, I saw Jim Jeffries in an elevator at Sirius XM one time. And I saw him there. He's in his leather jacket and his pompadour, and he's just sitting there. I'm like, Jeff Jeffries, man. I love you, dude. And he's like, it's Jim. Nice to meet you. I was like,
And Kavita walked away with shame.
so dumb.
Huge fan, Jeff Jeffries.
Jeff Jeffries, man. I love you, dude. It's Jim.